Guys, I've got Mr. Wiggleworm with me here today. You say hi? Say hi. Say hello. Um, I'm making this video today to talk about when Evan was first diagnosed with lissencephaly. That is like one of the main things that people have asked us about. And he's really excited this morning. Evan was diagnosed when he was about 4 months old. When we first had him, we didn't know anything was going on. He passed all of his APGAR testing that they do to all infants. The only thing that he failed on was his hearing screening, and he failed that twice before we left the hospital. But later on, he ended up passing the hearing test at a specialist. So, come to find out, it was just fluid behind his ears. So, we left the hospital, and I don't know if it was mother's intuition or what it was, but I had told my husband that I thought something just wasn't like spot on with him. You gotta watch him. And he was just chalking it up to, oh, he's new. He was the smallest one we had, which he was 6'12", so he wasn't like extremely small, but he was smaller. Our first one was 9 pounds and a half ounce and 21 and a half inches long. And then, he was the fourth, so one was 7'8" and one was 8'7", so he was the smallest one. He likes looking at himself. I forget where I was at. I know that happens to some of y'all. Anyway, we left the hospital. At about 6 months old, he was at home alone with me, and his dad was over at his mother's house, and he was helping her with something. I don't remember what. He had the other kids with him, and I had to call him because he started to have a seizure. Luckily, I knew what a seizure looked like because I had been in a healthcare profession beforehand. I was a CNA at an assisted care facility in a nursing home. So that has actually really helped me quite a bit actually, when it came to caring for Evan, just because I had some insider knowledge. We rushed him to the hospital, and he had stopped having the seizure by that point. It was just like a petit mal seizure. But he has had petit mals, grand mals, which is what he has now if he does have any seizures, which he usually does on a daily basis. And he has had absent seizures where he just stares off. But he was about 6 months old. And the way that we found out, I would not want anyone to ever have to find out that their child had a life-threatening illness. We did not have a very good pediatrician at all. I won't mention any names, but we had a pediatrician. She came into the room after doing some DNA testing and had pretty much told us that Evan had something called Fragile X syndrome, which is a genetics malformation. Then he had lissencephaly, and she had told us to start making arrangements because he would not live to be past 3 years old. That was the worst moment of my entire life. You are already being bombarded with information about a disease that you do not know anything about. I mean, I myself did not even know lissencephaly existed before he was diagnosed. And then to find out that my baby, I might not have him beyond 3 years old, that it was, I was just flabbergasted. I was floored. We sat there, and I had to come home. I had him at the doctor by myself, and we didn't want to take the other kids, so my husband had them. I had to come home and bawling and tell my husband what she had told me. And so it was just, I mean, it was awful. And that's something that nobody can tell you. I mean, and my mother-in-law was a huge help, and still continues to be a huge help whenever it came to that, because she sat me down and said, hey, look, nobody can sit here and tell you how long he's going to live. Only God knows. And that's true. I mean, he has a plan for him, just like he has a plan for all of us. And, you know, Evan has blessed each and every person that has come into contact with him. And each and every one of y'all's kids has been a blessing to us, because it's just that much more hope and motivation throughout this whole process. I mean, if you just stop and think about it, we share something, a common bond that is unbreakable. I mean, not many parents have children with lissencephaly, and it's, you know, it's a rare disorder. So it's something that not everyone is going to understand or get. And we're always there for each other on the page. We offer information, encouraging stories, and then we do have some sad times when someone gains their wings. I mean, that is, I sit down and I cry. I mean, that really affects me, and it's just something that, you know, you look at a little child and you feel like this should not happen to them. I don't know how many times I have looked at Evan and sat down and said, this is not fair. Why him? You know, you have to quit doing that. I mean, you could sit down. I have wondered if it was something I did while I was pregnant. It's not. I mean, it's just going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's nothing that I could have done. There's nothing that you guys could have done to prevent this. So there's no sense in beating yourself up about it and wondering what if, because it's happened. It's just something that you learn to deal with on a daily basis, and you move on. When Evan first had a seizure and was diagnosed, we decided we're going to get a second opinion. So then we started taking him to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital over in Nashville, Tennessee. They were wonderful. I cannot say enough about that hospital. They were amazing. If he has to have any type of like big testing, that's still where we prefer to take him. They did a sedated 5-hour-long MRI on him, and yeah, he sees himself. And after that, which I was a mess because that was the first time that he was being put to sleep. So me and my husband were nervous already, but they said that he did have lissencephaly. He also had pachygyria and syringohydromyelia. He was an epileptic, and excuse me, he did a 7-day stay the first time in the epilepsy monitoring unit, or EMU, and they picked up over 50 seizures that he had had within that 7 days, which seems like a lot. If you really break that down, it's not a whole lot. Some kids there were having over 100 seizures in 1 day. So luckily it hadn't gotten to that point, and it still hasn't, you know, thank God. And so then we ended up doing another stay at the EMU. This time was for 10 days. So they just kind of wanted to just check on him to follow up on his seizures, see if the seizure medications that they had him on were working. That's another video I'm going to do because he's getting kind of antsy, so I'm going to have to hurry this one up. But yeah, he has been on several different seizure medications, but now they're wanting to try the vagus nerve stimulation surgery, and I'll do a follow-up video about that. I know that some of you have kiddos who have that. Some of you have probably never even heard of it, so we will do a follow-up video on that. So anyway, he, ever since then, has just kind of been hanging out with us, and he is a blessing. I thank God every day for him, and he is just the happiest, rowdiest little boy I have ever met. And he has 2 older brothers and a baby sister and an older sister, and he has got to be probably at times the most rambunctious one out of all of them. Aren't you? Yeah. Huh? You rowdy? Yeah. So, I hope you guys found the video helpful to answer some of the questions that you guys have been posting. I'm glad that you got to meet Evan. You'll be seeing a lot more of him because we're going to be doing a lot more videos. I have to kind of wait until either late at night or when the other kids are at school to be able to do videos, because if I didn't, you wouldn't be able to hear anything I had to say. So anyway, yeah, so I hope that it helped you guys. I know that a lot of you have still got a lot of questions about the medications he's on. Like I said, I'm going to do a follow-up video on that, about the vagus nerve stimulation surgery, and just some basic questions that you guys had in general about our family. So if you have a question, comment on the video below or on his page on Facebook, which is Families of Lissencephaly. And just let me know, and I'll do my best to answer the questions. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye. Say bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye. Bye, guys.